Hello, it's Hazel here, and at the moment we're exploring this idea of resilience and how we can enhance our resilience. So we've already touched on a couple of areas in relation to mental agility and enhancing our self-awareness. So building from those two, what I want to explore today is a little bit about how we can explore self-regulation, which is another aspect that we think helps us in relation to resilience. And when I say self-regulation, what I'm really talking about is our ability to manage our emotions, particularly the strong emotions or strong drives that we might be experiencing. So when I first started out trying to share some of sort of clinical psychology theories with wider audiences, I wrote an article for parents predominantly to help them understand a bit about how the brain works so that they could teach their children what's going on when we experience strong emotions and why we might respond in sort of unusual ways that we perhaps wouldn't usually behave in. And one of the things that I was really surprised about is that I got a lot of feedback from adults saying, I didn't know that my brain worked like this. And it made me realise that we as psychologists still have a lot of work to do in enabling people to find useful metaphors to make sense of what's going on in the brain. So recently the BBC turned these ideas that I had about how we can learn about the brain and self-regulation, they turned it into a cartoon. So I'll put the link in there. If you're in the UK, you'll be able to watch that. If you're not, sadly, I'm sorry you can't, but I'll also put some links to some articles that I've written in relation to this. I recently did an interview with Steve Peters, who wrote a brilliant book that's very similar lines about how we can use metaphor to understand what's going on with our emotions and what's happening in our brain, called the Chimp Paradox. So I'll also put the link in here today for exploring that. But really, emotional regulation is so diverse in the ways that we can start to unpick it that it's important to find the things that work for you. So what I'm going to do today is just share a few different resources and you can start to pick and choose and see what fits and what doesn't. Thanks.